All right. So I just want to start right away. So, with the unknown of next season and currently right now, how are you trying to accommodate and towards the pandemic right now with your players being at home?
Well, there's a couple things going on. Of course, as a football coach, we're thinking about the football season and what we were able to get done in the spring, which we're allowed so many practices in the spring. Now, at Division III, it's non-contact, but it's still crucial for our players to go through that process. Now, normally this is the first year we actually started spring practice before spring break, and we were able to get 3 practices in. And then when our spring break occurred, which is about the middle of March, um, the kids never came back after that. So it was the state declared that all the colleges would go online. So from a football standpoint, we were only able to get 3 practices in. Now, they were doing some strength and conditioning stuff with our strength coach prior to. Um, but on the flip side of that, too, I mean, we have, because of our roster limitations in season, because of the conference that we play in, um, we don't really do walk-ons. So walk-ons for us usually occur in the spring. So we had, around 20 um, players that were technically trying to make our team, which, you know, put some implications into what, our evaluation process, because we only were able to see them for 3 practices outside. So that's been a little bit of and will continue to be a challenge for us, trying to evaluate some of those guys from a football standpoint. Um, since our students have been home and being online, um, I can't, offensively, I know our offensive coordinator has sent some stuff via email to them, playbook stuff, etc. With some video clips. Defensively, our defensive staff, and I'm the defensive coordinator. I coach the defensive backs primarily. We've done a couple Zoom meetings with our guys, really just kind of because we video practice, so kind of talking about the practice video, and then watching some game video from last fall. So just trying to kind of make up for the 12 practices that we didn't get to do during the spring, and just keep their mind fresh with schematically what we're doing from a football standpoint. I think the bigger challenge has been from an academic standpoint, not only for our student athletes, but the students in general, uh, transitioning to all their courses being online. Okay. Um, and actually for some instructors as well, because their courses started out face to face, and now, they had to transition in a short period of time to making their courses online as well. So it's been a challenge on both ends. For students, maybe some students have never taken an online class, and I know the perception is that online class, and it's that'll be easy. I can do it when I want. That's a trap, is what we tell our guys. Online courses are actually harder to manage and do well in, um, especially if you have a student that's not a self-starter or self-disciplined. If you got a student that is a good student on top of stuff and is a list maker, schedule maker, they're probably going to do okay. But I'm actually in charge of our football team and the academic progress of our student athletes. So I've spent a lot of time the last 3 or 4 weeks just staying in touch with them, communicating with our Center for Student Achievement on campus, and seeing what they can provide, and they've done a great job too. Our Center for Student Achievement, trying to get information out to the students to help them in the process. Along with actually our IT people here working with our professors and instructors. The other thing that has occurred is, typically schools will have a last day to drop a class, which is about usually 2/3 of the way through the semester. Well, our academic advisory committees, on campus, faculty senate, et cetera, have adjusted that day to accommodate the whole situation. So they continue to move that day back and extend some grace to the students and to the instructors, quite frankly, during this time. So they've been, been a lot of grace extended on both sides, both students and both professors here. So it's been a challenge, no doubt.
And then I don't remember if you really touched on it, but like, are you sending, because with other coaches I've talked to, have you been sending workouts to them to try to keep them in shape a little bit?
Yeah. We're fortunate here at Division III at this school that we have our own strength staff and strength coach. So at most Division III schools, the football staff is the strength staff for the football team, and as it is for other sports. But our strength coach has been in communication with our players and trying to keep them. We have an app that our guys use called Team Builder, which is where all of our workouts are posted. And we use it when they're on campus too, but when they're like away in the summertime, which is basically what this is, the challenge isn't necessarily from our strength staff getting the information to them, as much as it is for the individual players in their own circumstances trying to do the workouts. It's not like the summer in that, if Dustin is home and he belongs to a fitness facility, he can go to the fitness facility. Well, all the fitness facilities are shut down. So now he's really just limited to, what do I have in my house, or do I have a friend that has some equipment that I can use, so that is a big challenge. That probably concerns us as a football staff more than the football stuff, the practicing, because, again, like I said, in the summer, kids will join clubs and they'll have their personal trainers and all that. Well, you can't do that now, because of the social distancing stuff, and all the fitness facilities shut down. So now, and this is probably holds true to most, the guys that love lifting already have equipment. They've already had equipment. So they're not going to skip a beat. It's really what we always talk about, the middle 50% of our team that, they're going to do everything that they're supposed to do when they're here and when they're home in the summer, because they belong to a facility and they have the workout that they can do. But now those kids probably don't have that type of equipment. So they've got to be really creative on what they're doing to try to, from a strength standpoint, they can go out and run and do all that. That's not an issue. But from a strength standpoint, as far as football goes, that could show up. That could definitely show up.
And then with those limitations, do you feel there will be a lack of motivation if whenever practices start up or even the season starts up?
Well, we've talked to our guys, and we had a team Zoom meeting about 2 weeks ago, and Coach Wood, and we had our Coach Wood. Our whole staff is on there, but Coach Wood spoke to our guys. Our head football coach, our strength coach got on, talked about the importance of doing the best you can under the circumstances. I talked about academic progress. So we tell our guys, hey man, we're playing football in the fall, so the unique thing, I guess, is everybody's in the same boat, so it's really going to be who is going to take the initiative and continue to train and be ready when we come out of this. And like I said, I mean, I think, you know, that'll show up in some programs, you know, so everybody's got to be responsible and accountable for their own situation. And they've all have a vision for the season. We have high expectations for the season coming off of last year. So, you know, you can't sit there and get the poor me's about the circumstances that you're in and say, well, I don't have this and I don't have that. You got to find ways to get it done, you know, whatever that looks like. And that's going to be different for each individual based on what they have in their house, you know, or what they have accessibility to, you know.
And now kind of switching from players on the team to players getting recruited going into their freshman year next year.
Yeah.
How are you trying to accommodate them into the system with, you know, really not?
Yeah, it's going to be the same. I mean, like, you know, from an academic standpoint, certainly we've stayed in communication with our individual recruits, you know, guys that I've recruited. I've stayed in communication with them through text and phone. Our strength coach, actually, we were just talking yesterday, he's getting ready to send out, that's the same stuff that he would normally send out on a normal year. But again, it's still going to come down to what is their individual circumstance that they're presented with and what can they do to continue to build their body and prepare. Now, again, you know, the running and the conditioning part, you know, thankfully they can still do that. So that shouldn't be an issue. But, you know, what they have available in order to lift and get stronger could be an issue with them, you know, but we'll continue to do that. Our school, you know, normally every college has an admitted student day. Well, you know, couldn't bring anybody on campus for that. So that was a virtual thing, and, you know, encouraged our guys to get on and do that. They also have orientation in the summer. Like our school will do orientation the last 2 weeks of June. So that will move to a virtual thing as well. So, well, you know, everybody's going to make the best of it, and we'll come out okay. There might be a couple hiccups along the way, but I think the strength component is probably the biggest issue, because the playing field necessarily is not going to be level. It's not going to be the same for each player, you know, even on our team or on any other team, you know, but I think relatively it'll be the same from team to team, you know, like, but I think academically as well, you know, those high school seniors, I feel bad for them because they're not getting their graduation. You know, that's my daughter is a senior here at SU, and she's not going to be able to participate in a graduation maybe till the fall. They'll have a December one that she could go through. So it's challenging for everybody. But if I had to, from an athletic standpoint, probably the strength component is probably the biggest thing. It's just not the same for everybody, kind of. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And you know, still on the thing with recruits coming in with you know, I can kind of remember about how the offense runs with just heavy runs, triple option. Don't remember the much defensive scheme, but how are you still trying to keep players involved into understanding your guys' schemes?
Well, I mean, that's the cool thing with Huddle now, you know, that, you know, the technology and that guys are on their phone, on their iPad. They can watch video at any time. So we're always encouraging them to do that. You know, I know our offensive coordinator has kind of sent out pieces of installs, like their play schemes. Been like a PowerPoint thing that he sent out to them with some video clips attached to it. Now again, you know, I'm assuming they're watching it and they're trying to learn it, but we can't control that, right? And then defensively, I've had a couple meetings with our DBs, just going through, like I said, specific coverages and some video with them, kind of like I would do if we were on campus and critiquing video and trying, again, the challenge is I got veterans, that kind of understand it and know it. And then I got freshmen, and really for us, quite honestly, John, the spring is really about evaluating the new guys, and then with the freshmen who just got done is cleaning up the fogginess in their brains from the past fall, so that because everything is a blur to them in the fall. Some guys will get on the field as freshmen, and but most of them are still foggy about like defensively, assignments, coverages, drops, etc. And that's what that's where I think the spring practice really helps the freshmen coming out of that spring, really getting a better understanding of, hey, what we're doing here. Same thing offensively, where you don't have that practice time, but quite honestly, when everything's shut down, we're probably in the minority that we got at least 3 practices in, because most schools will wait till after spring break, at least middle of March or April to do spring practice. So, it's trying to do the best we can just to keep their football IQ, moving ahead.
Oh. You're like frozen on my screen. You still hear me?